Welcome back, everybody. This is the Last Week This Week podcast. I'm Ian Scott.
I'm Zack Huber.
And yeah, this is the podcast where we talk about nerd things from the past week and the upcoming week. But I know both of us watched Velma this past week.
Yes, yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think we both wanted to give it a chance, like genuinely. Like,
yeah, I'd like to be clear. Like, I think there's a lot of people who are probably it's the popular thing to be dogging on this show at the moment.
Yeah.
I think we both really wanted to enjoy it, or give it a fair shot. Like, and I definitely did.
There was one of the trailers that came out before this. It wasn't the last one, but one of them looked decent enough that I was kind of excited for it.
Yeah, you know, the animation style reminds me.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's the animation's really cool. It reminds me, like, watching the show. I don't think you've watched Harley Quinn. That's on HBO.
No.
It feels like it wants to be that show.
That level of humor.
The subversion of the characters, or like taking those characters and bringing them into a more modern context, or also it's way more mature.
Yeah.
But this show, its problem is in the writing, unfortunately. And most of the jokes that they have are, you know, mostly based in pop culture references, instead of, like, there was several, and I'm sure we'll get more into it, but there were several times where they would be like, and it was in the same episode,
right?
It actually in both episodes, because there was 2 episodes that dropped, where they would say, in every teen show, this happens. So that means that this is okay. Or like, that's why this happens.
Right.
And I was really frustrated at how many times they were like, hey guys, we're supposed to be this teen thing. And like, we're going to talk about all these other teen TV tropes.
Well, I feel like they got so like into their heads with being meta that like, it was that, but it was also like, let me just explain to the audience every single plot point that like I'm thinking and like the show is going through.
Yeah.
And it was just like, gosh, give me some subtlety, like anything here, like please.
Like, it's the oral equivalent of just like holding a sign up and saying, this is the thing you're supposed to laugh at, or like, get it, guys? Like, do you get it? Do you get what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I mean, someone was talking about it, like the scene where they like are in the trash can and like are almost caught by the 2 moms, her and Daphne, the trash like container, and then they like roll out, and Velma's like, "Wow, am I actually having a good time hanging out with you again?" And it was just like, yeah, well, we could have seen that. You didn't have to like say it out loud, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that I remember that. That didn't bother me as much. I think the show started off in a way that really gave me a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, why did we start off with a shower scene? Like in a high school? That's just like, what are we doing here? Like, that's a little weird, right?
A little weird.
Yeah.
But so that scene starts off with Daphne. First of all, they're in this discussion. All these naked girls are talking about why a pilot episode is the most likely episode of any TV series to show the most violence and nudity.
Right.
And then there was a debate had between Daphne and this other girl about whether we're all just really horny, or if it was like something to like hook the audience.
Right.
And
she's like, admit that you're horny. Right. And I was like,
and then
whoa.
Daphne legit was about to murder that girl. It looked like
you think so?
She had her on the fucking ground and was like beating her.
Wow. Yeah.
And then Velma shows, and I thought they were going to explain this. And I would assume that she was at maybe hockey practice. I don't know if they said that, but I don't think they did. She showed up like a fucking villain in
like a
hockey
gray hoodie
gear
or something.
Yeah, completely uncovered, covered up. So bizarre. Just such a bizarre opening. I was like, what are we? Why?
I think
what are we commenting? I get it, but what? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't get it in the sense that
it's definitely trying to have some sort of social commentary on stuff, but I think it's just not. It doesn't land well. You know?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the humor just doesn't land for me. Like you were talking about the violence in it, and
some of the violence is funny.
Well, but it doesn't work for me. Fred chopping that dude's leg off.
Yeah,
that, makes no sense. Or I mean, there was another
because
instance.
The thing is that I thought it was funny, but then when you think about it, and I know this is a cartoon, but you have to have you still have to set up things to make sense in your world, regardless.
Right.
And so he's being charged for murder at some point.
Mm-hmm. But everyone was cool with him chopping off a leg.
But he cut off a fucking leg.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the gag went away right after.
Yeah.
He chopped the leg off. There was blood pooling around the body.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in multiple different shots. It's very weirdly placed humor in a lot of weirdly placed spots.
I will say that out of all the characters, and I think it's because he reminds me of a Homelander. Mm-hmm. Fred was the character that got me to laugh the most, because I just saw him as this, because there was a lot of ways that he was written that he was kind of like the Joker in the Harley Quinn show, in my opinion, that he just was so, there were some things he said that were horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Right.
But because of how they're doing his character, I think it's funny. Daphne's growing on me. Mm-hmm. Norville, who's the Shaggy equivalent.
Yeah.
I don't know who that character is supposed to be.
Right.
If any I don't know if they're just trying to do a different character other than Shaggy. For definitely nothing resembling Shaggy. And his whole thing about do you know about weed? I don't know about weed.
I hate drugs.
Oh my God. Let me go back to Fred lowest here. Of lowing. And it's not even funny.
Yeah, I think it's not like the voice acting's bad by Glenn Howerton. He's fine in the role. I think he's doing his best.
Oh, he plays Fred.
Yeah, he plays Fred. Yeah. But to me, everything that somebody says to Fred, or everything that Fred says, is a line to make him look twice as worse as the last. It's just he is being set up to have no possibility of a redemption arc, because he is just the worst possible character.
Just a trash human being.
Right. He's I mean, he's embarrassing and stupid and sexist and
they literally have a scene where he's walking up to the courthouse and he gets water dumped on him and he looks like Hitler.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, and then in the courtroom scene where Velma is she knows she messed up by accusing Fred, but she's but he's a child. Look at this dumbass, And I'm what are we doing? Why are you an awful person too? But Daphne is fine. She's the most normal character, I guess, they've written. But
and Velma is I don't. She's not a super likable character for me.
Yeah, no, she's not. She doesn't admit her. Well, I mean, I guess she does a couple times admit that she's wrong, but still does nothing to really fix that. She's awful to her friends, especially Norville.
Yeah, I would be awful to Norville too if he was I left you a VM. And then it's is there more? I left you 4 more VMs. I'm oh my God.
Yeah, no, that was, sure. He's a little annoying.
He's a bad character. Every single time he was on, I was out.
I'm going to predict that he has an arc by the end of the season where like he finally tries pot and becomes the Shaggy we know, and that's when he gets his nickname or whatever.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's a mess. I think.
Yeah, maybe I don't.
Also, the way they've portrayed these, panic attacks that Velma has is interesting, and the way that she gets out of them is also a little weird. Like
make me laugh.
Like make me laugh at your feelings,
or make out with me.
Yeah, or kiss me. Yeah, right. Like I don't know.
It's like I don't know. It's like okay, I guess she has heart palpitations and freaks out and has hallucinations. I'm like okay, I don't know. I don't really because there was even like a point where they said this is like the plot point. Yeah. This is the reason to care about my character now.
Bro, that pissed me off so much.
There's so much of that.
There's so much meta-ness that I don't need your entire story dumped on me in the first 5 minutes of your show. Like, let it happen organically.
Yeah, it's like they were like, here's why you should care about me, but I'm telling you why you should care about me.
Right.
And then I don't care as much. No. And I think I've heard people talk about if you take away the Scooby-Doo, if they would like the show more.
Yeah, I'm sure there'd be a little more niceness to it because they're not just ruining these characters.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't mind them trying to change and update and make these characters like a funny R-rated thing.
But don't make it in high school. I don't know why it has to be in high school right now.
I mean, they're kids.
But they're not always kids. I mean, they're young adults in the original and in most iterations.
Yeah. I don't know. They've been in high school for a while now. Like there was that, there was like a Mystery Incorporated show when they were in high school and that ran for a while.
But if you're changing everything about these characters, then change the high school. If your show just doesn't work for it, then it doesn't work for it, and you need to switch to college or something. I mean, anything else that's older.
I don't know. I guess that doesn't personally bother me as much.
It's just the humor doesn't work for that age to me.
It's not.
Especially that like opening scene, shower scene.
Yeah, that was just that really put me in such a weird mood. I was like, what's good? Like this, it was like so meta. I was like, is this happening?
Yeah.
It was weird. I will say there are some funny parts for sure. Like I like the ad for like the Fred Jones like apparel where it was like the narrator said, "'Cause without your ascot, you're naked," and then. And the dude's naked, okay, and then she says, "What? Are you poor?"
Okay, that's good. Yeah, sure.
So there's moments like that,
but jokes that don't come from any of the characters. So
right, because like we got to like Velma's dad, and he's dating awful. This waitress.
They're awful.
Who she like does this thing where she's like, Velma says, "You don't even know how to use hashtag," and then she says hashtag blah blah blah. I was like,
yeah,
and then
dated jokes.
She got like a camera. That was the plot point because she thought that like she murdered Fred, and she's like, "No, I got this camera because you're supposed to take pictures of like you're supposed to capture life's moments unaltered, unadulterated or whatever." And then she like has the camera being pointed at her while she's naked in the kitchen all of a sudden posing.
Yeah, and the baby is
for the baby.
Did you remember how the baby looked?
Like the hand came out.
It was scary looking. Yeah, that was.
But see, that stuff's fine. Like that stuff's like okay, it's like a dark, funny cartoon show. But yeah, it just sadly doesn't. It doesn't. The jokes don't.
They don't land.
And
no,
I will probably check out some more episodes just to see if it gets any better. I'm not going to write it off just by these first two, but it's up to a rough start.
If you are, I might like. To me, like if I keep watching now, it'll be hate watching and that's not something like I don't want to support this show any further, to be honest.
Right.
So I think I personally would like to dip, but if we want to keep talking about it for this podcast, that's another
we'll see.
Topic,
I mean,
right?
if I don't like the third episode, and if you watch it, maybe we'll just dip.
Right.
But I think our initial thoughts on Velma is it's not very good.
It's not very good.
Yeah.
No, everyone's saying it.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah.
But
it is.
But we
on to better things.
Yeah, we're gonna get on to better things, which is The Mandalorian season 3 trailer.
Yep.
Has the official one has come out.
Yeah, I have to say that first one that came out didn't really excite me. I think I was left with a bad taste in my mouth after Book of Boba Fett. And I don't know. I just didn't really care about that first trailer. But
see,
the second one.
I gotta say, I like the other one more.
Really? Okay.
But this one still gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
goosebumps.
Massive goosebumps.
Yeah, I mean, seeing, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like seeing Coruscant is just automatic goosebumps. Like I love
that's what does it for you.
I love Coruscant. I love like seeing Order 66. I think that's like just going back to that time period is just like a beautiful moment in Star Wars history. Maybe not for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Children getting murdered.
Not Order 66. I'm just saying the prequel era is the era that like I want to see Coruscant again, and maybe not in that era, but you know,
it would seem that from that shot that it's.
I hope, it's like that era Coruscant. I hope so, man.
There is a scene where I don't know if I know the character, but they're riding one like some ship through. It seems like Coruscant at like nighttime. Do you think that's like from that flashback, assuming flashback, or is that maybe like they actually legit go to Coruscant this season?
I hope they legit go to Coruscant, because I feel like if they're showing an Order 66 flashback, maybe that's like there's a reason to show the flashback and to go to where it happened.
Yeah.
But I think like more than that, I was so excited to see Mandalore. Like that was great.
It looks dope.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks messed up, but
but that's how it should look. Yeah.
Yeah.
And him at the end flying around with all the other Mandalorians. Holy crap. That was very like season 1 almost.
So many toys are going to come out.
Yeah.
You know,
there were so many cool designs for like each Mandalorian.
Yeah. It's like if you got to like design your character in like Battlefront.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
That would be dope.
That'd be
I don't know
cool.
if you could. I didn't play Battlefront 2.
I mean, I know like get the concept, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But it seems like Din is it seems like it's alluding to that he was probably talking to the armorer.
Okay.
That he said like, I'm going back to Mandalore to be forgiven for my transgressions, which is what he says in the trailer.
Yeah, but why would he go back to the armorer after he already departed and said, I won't return until...
Yeah. Or he's talking to somebody and says that.
Maybe, but
it seems like he's still on the path of wanting to be accepted back into his like
to be
religious sect.
Right.
Which I think by probably the end of this season, he
just abandons it.
Like doesn't, like, I don't
like abandons his creed.
He might.
Yeah.
There's Grogu is, force pushing somebody. So obviously that time with Luke, even though it was a very small amount of time, is he's got another flying stroller, which is I miss the flying stroller, so that's nice to have back.
I can't say the Grogu stuff really excites me.
He's sorry, I have Grogu here in studio.
I understand. It would have been cool maybe if we like split up these characters into 2 different shows. But not 2 different shows. I'm saying like, keep
Grogu
the Mandalorian going, and you put not like Grogu's specific own show, but Grogu could have had his own show. Where he's with Luke. That would have been nice.
Yeah, I do have a few more things that I want to say about this trailer, but to talk about that is something that I think not everybody is a Star Wars super fan that's gonna watch all the Star Wars content that comes out.
Right.
So the problem going into the season 3 is that I've heard, people are watching this trailer and are saying, how is Grogu back? Like what? And it's I hope they correct this, but you shouldn't have to watch another show
to watch another season of the show you had been watching.
Because in Boba Fett, for anybody who's unfamiliar,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but if we're gonna talk about it, there are 2 episodes where they are pretty much just Mandalorian episodes, which end up with reuniting Din and Grogu
fully in episode 7, the finale of Book of Boba Fett.
Right. And so that's, because they were separated at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. Yeah. So I think they're probably going to have to do a recap, but this is something that is really frustrating because, as much as it made me sad to see Grogu and Din part ways at the end of season 2, there was some like cool story points to be had. Din was gonna go do his thing in Mandalore, and then
that's what I wanted.
Right.
I wanted to see him take the Darksaber and maybe take the throne of Mandalore, or find his redemption at the depths of it. But yeah, now we also have Grogu with him again doing Force things, and I'm not sure there's like much more of a plot with him.
I hope there's more of a story there.
I hope so too. Because it feels like his story is pretty much done now. It's just like now he's with his father who he wanted to be with this whole time, and they're going to be happy.
But I will say that there is no Mandalorian without Grogu. Like he's always going to be in the show. He is always going to be because do you remember when The Mandalorian first came out? I remember like at work, people who didn't watch Star Wars at all. That first episode dropped, and then the internet blew up because they're like, "Holy shit, Baby Yoda!"
Yeah,
and then everybody just watched it for Baby Yoda.
Yeah, that's the thing is that I think they were scared to make this show again without like the thing that attracted general audiences to it.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't know how they're going to be able to write a good plot for Grogu again, because I feel like we've already saw his good plot. But yeah, what I was going to say earlier, I think what he was talking about, or who he was talking to about like going to Mandalore. I feel bad for forgetting his name, but do you remember the fixer guy, the black guy from the first season who shows up in this trailer again?
Yeah. Carl. I forget the actor's name.
Yeah, I think it could be him. He hasn't seen him in a while,
and he's some sort of nobility.
Yeah, he looks
somewhat
fancy. Yeah,
so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know how that happened.
Right,
but he seems like kind of like the Lando.
Yeah, for sure.
In a way,
because he did kind of betray like Mando at one point.
Yeah, he's like kind of you don't exactly know where his allegiances lie, and he's always like just kind of like, hey man, and then you're like, what are you up to? And he's like doing his own thing, and so I really like him. He's a great character, and that actor directed season 2 episode where they break into that empire, forget what planet they were on, but it was the one where you find like all these like testing tanks and everything. Yeah.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was only good episodes in season 2.
Fair.
Did you have something else that you want to say? Sorry.
I mean, I was going to say like we didn't see Moff Gideon at all in this trailer. Do you think we see him at all again? Considering, he was fully defeated at the end of last season?
Maybe.
Because I do like him as a character, I think he's pretty intimidating.
Yeah. I agree. That kind of ties in to what I was also going to bring up is that one of the rebel pilots, that like the older guy that we've seen recurringly, I think he's probably taking over the role of Cara Dune because unfortunately Gina Carino
she's been out. Yeah.
Which really sucks because that was such a great character and
it was.
But maybe like stop saying shit when you when you're told to like stop saying things. So
the movie that Patty Jenkins was making or is making still, that was supposed to be with her, wasn't it?
No. They were gonna make a
sequel or like a spin-off series with her.
A spin-off series that was some sort of I don't know, rebel something. Yeah. But
Moon.
there was looks for that, but we're probably not gonna talk about it today. But he says that there's something dangerous happening out there, and by the time it's big enough for you to act talking to Mando, it'll be too late. Could that be talking about First Order? I don't think so, but it's possible. It could also be just a misdirect to like a standalone episode that happens, like because they do episodes where it's just like things that happen in there.
Episodic.
So, but it is also coming from this rebel pilot who has knowledge of things that are happening all over the galaxy, and so it's something. And I wouldn't take out the idea that there's something with that Moff Gideon could be tied into there because we still don't know exactly why they wanted Grogu in the first place.
Yeah, very vague there. I kind of wish we knew a little more, but I was hearing, before these trailers came out that, this season would delve even deeper than like season 2 did into like, the lore of Star Wars and secret things in the show. And so, yeah, that's all very exciting.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to find out who took Grogu.
Sure. I'd love that.
And I would imagine we probably see Boba Fett again.
I think, we're probably going to see Boba Fett.
And I think come back for the retaking of Mandalore.
Right. And I also think we're probably going to see Ahsoka again.
Yeah. Probably.
It feels like those 3 characters are like the top 3 right now of this like little mini universe that they're building.
Yeah.
And so I think in all these projects we're probably going to see those 3.
What do you think about Luke? Is that a
I think Luke could come back easily.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't seem like it was insanely difficult to do the new like special effects they've done because they've hired, actual professionals who do this stuff now. Like
they hired the
YouTube guy.
I wouldn't because I would say like they had professionals who did it, but then they got somebody who like
knows what they're doing
from
really.
YouTube that they marked up the video. So
I couldn't believe how much better it looked, like the YouTube comparisons.
Yeah, that was
because at the end of season 2, it's pretty rough.
It was, but I lost my shit.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, they were trying to do it like in full secret, so I get why it wasn't as amazing as it should have been, but it still did the job.
Yeah. I don't have a ton more to say other than what is it, March 1st or March
1st? Yeah.
I'm just excited for that to come out.
Yeah.
And we'll
do we know how many episodes? Probably 8 or so.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, the VFX look insane. And I don't know if it was Mando, but somebody's flying away from like a shit ton of TIE fighters.
Yeah.
Like so Empire
could be First Order.
But that's so far down the line, I feel like timeline-wise.
It is. And I would be surprised in that sense, too, that like, I with this like little universe that like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are making, I do feel like they are trying to distance themselves from the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I remembered like years ago, maybe a year or 2 ago, there was some YouTube video that was like how Favreau is going to rewrite the Star Wars history.
Yeah, because they were saying like...
And I was like, I don't... Yeah,
if Grogu was the first student, they would rewrite the Star Wars history that they made because Kylo was his first student.
Yeah. Maybe, but
so now it's still intact because Grogu is not. But,
Yeah, I mean, they're not as much as you and I don't like the sequel trilogy. There's still a lot of people who do, and I mean, it is what it is. It's canon.
Yeah,
so.
it is. Yeah. But unfortunately,
should we move on?
Yeah,
to our next bit of news.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite shows as a kid. Zoey 101 is getting a sequel movie on Paramount Plus called Zoey 102. Cheesy name, but like, you couldn't.
Is that like
think
the
of a better
room,
name.
the hotel room that they booked?
Oh, gotta be
102.
Right? 102, yeah. Oh, we couldn't get 101. Oh, right, yeah. But yeah, what we know so far is that they're coming back for like a wedding.
Do we know whose wedding?
We don't know whose wedding.
Okay.
Although I have a prediction of who that could be.
Okay.
But yeah, from everything else we know at the moment, it's supposed to be coming out later this year, so pretty soon. And the only people who didn't return was Victoria Justice, who plays Lola, and Paul Butcher, who plays Austin.
Well, and also Austin Butler.
Yeah, I was saying Austin Butler, who plays her brother, is not returning.
Oh God, that was her brother.
That was her brother. You didn't realize that was her brother on the show?
Are you?
I'm positive.
Sure, he's not just.
Sorry. Paul Butcher. I said my bad. Yeah, Austin Butler was the boyfriend in the last season.
Yeah.
But they're not inviting him. He was like the worst part of Zoey 101, man.
I can't.
Not that his acting was bad.
No.
It's just I hated it because like they had just gotten like Chase and Zoey together,
and then he came into the fold.
Chase off to London. Yeah, and he comes in and starts dating Zoey. And you're like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. You have a much clearer memory.
I do.
But I do remember him being in the show.
Yeah. That's where I first saw him.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I was asking for a Zoey 101 sequel for a long time. I don't know who else really is.
I mean, I didn't ask for it, but I'll watch it because it was such a integral part of my childhood, watching all those characters. Logan, Chase, Zoey, Lola. I mean,
it's just and I don't know. I had such like school envy of that like school when I was a kid.
Yeah,
because like I was like, this is just where I want to be like 100% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, to like campus, live on a campus
as like an adult, but like you're a teenager, and you have like almost full independence. It's insane. Yeah,
and it looks so nice, and you have like access to like whatever.
What? Yeah, I mean, the campus is gigantic. Yeah, fantastic vibes there.
Who are you predicting might be getting married?
I think like the funniest version of that I think is going to be Quinn and Logan.
Did they
dated in season 4?
How many seasons did Zoey 101 run for?
4.
Oh. So they were still together by the end of it?
I will say I think they might have broken up like by the end of the season, but I can't honestly remember. Funny enough, that's something I should remember. Does
Stacey come back?
Stacey is coming back for this. Yeah. Stacey and Mark.
Do you think that
Darth Del Figaro? Yeah.
I'm not expecting it to be particularly good, but I want it to be. But I just like.
I'm expecting it to be like a little higher quality than like the new iCarly.
Have you watched any of that?
I watched like the first 3 episodes when it came out.
Was it?
It was. I mean, here's the thing. iCarly was my least favorite show of that live action Dan Schneider era.
I like iCarly quite a bit.
I liked it for the most part, but it never stuck with me, and it was very much the same kind of show for the sequel. I mean, it was a little more adult oriented, but it wasn't the humor that I was really looking for. But
interesting, because like I was really into it.
I feel like my thing when it was coming out was that like the humor that they tried to do for the web show just never landed for me. Like it was just so it was just so random.
I understand that, but and very true. Yeah. But if you remember, we did live in 2010, 2011, and that was the so random era where we were just doing things because we're so random.
I'll give iCarly props because that concept was a little ahead of its time. You know, like
I mean,
basically
you
it was
had
2007, 2008.
You had Fred on there.
Sure,
and then Fred got a fucking TV show from Nickelodeon. I mean, like,
yeah, and movies.
all the early YouTube stars
Right.
were like going on there. So I mean, like,
Yeah, because it was ahead of its time. You know, you had somebody who was making a living off of, or maybe not making a living, but you know, becoming famous
right.
before there were like a bunch of real YouTube celebrities.
Yeah. And that's the thing about iCarly coming back, and also with this show.
Yeah, both on Paramount Plus.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how they'll translate, because iCarly was, because it was their kids and because it was an emerging thing, that being famous on the internet and making videos was like the big thing to do. And then with Zoey 101, I think we mostly liked it because, I mean, maybe not because I wanted to say because they're in the high school setting.
Right.
I don't know how it'll be as adults.
Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting. Like, I think,
because a lot of the humor was like because they're awkward and kids and
right, but a lot of it was that like it was like their own little family, you know. And I like the camaraderie between like this like group of 6 that was there. I think for the sequel, it could be good that it's at a wedding, because like if you think of, I don't know if you watched How I Met Your Mother season 9, where it was like just
no.
So the concept for that, it took place over like one weekend, the whole season, and it was the wedding of Barney and Robin, and it like basically because it took place all in that weekend, all at the same location. It was a very self-contained space that like everyone got to just kind of like, they were almost like living together. You know, it was like everybody in this one hotel. And I think that's kind of the vibe you're going to get from a Zoey 101 wedding. You know, everyone's going to be together and together probably for the whole weekend, you know?
Yeah, it'll probably feel like those Office wedding episodes.
Yeah. Those are great episodes in The Office. Yeah.
I hope you're right. I hope it's great. I have Paramount Plus, so do you?
Yeah, I mooch off from someone.
You can just mooch off of me.
Yeah,
because I use it to watch Star Trek. So.
Oh yeah, Picard and whatnot. Yeah.
But I'll get
maybe
there.
Not Picard. Okay.
I'm still on Next Generation.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting close to finishing it, but then I'm like, I don't know where I want to go. Do I want to do the Next Generation movies? Do I want to go back to the original series? Do I want to go to Deep Space Nine?
I mean, I've heard the original movies are really good.
I mean, I heard the odd number ones are not good, and then the even ones are good.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, everyone knows like Wrath of Khan is great,
right? Yeah. So we'll see. This other piece of news that came out, I particularly find interesting for a couple reasons. Arguably the biggest pop star that's ever been around was Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And there is a biopic finally coming out, apparently, by the director of Emancipation, and he's also done some other movies. I don't know if I've seen some of them, but the director is Antoine Fuqua, and
haven't heard of him.
Yeah, he just did that movie with Will Smith. But he's getting the script written by the guy that did Bohemian Rhapsody. So that what's that?
I mean, I've
reaction?
I've heard the Bohemian Rhapsody script is not very good.
Have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody?
I have not seen it.
Well,
I'm just saying I've heard it's not very good.
I don't know who talked to you, but that movie's great.
Okay. Yeah.
I
know
mean, that's it's great.
I know it's filled with a bunch of inaccuracies too, but you know.
Sure. I mean, I don't. That's part of what I want to like get into.
Right.
So the thing, there's been so many music biopics, and it's kind of surprising that there hasn't been a Michael Jackson biopic, considering how big, how great
I think there's
songs.
an obvious reason for that.
But that's what I was going to say.
Right.
Like there's so much controversy about what to talk about what you don't talk about.
Sure, there's
like
that, but there's also like how do you cast an actor in that role? Like there's multiple stages of his life that he has to go through, and he looks different in many of those stages.
So that I don't. The thing that doesn't, I don't think.
I think it is a challenge.
I think it's a challenge, but I think the physical appearance is one of the lesser problems when trying to get somebody to play that role, because you cast somebody who looks like Michael, primarily around his like off the wall era, moving into thriller and whatnot and bad.
Yeah,
and with prosthetics, you can get to the point where he was at like dangerous, and he started to, be a little bit, very controversial.
Yeah.
Hanging babies outside of windows and whatnot. Because I can see the prosthetics that being applied, but that's only if they decide to go that route.
Like show that late era, or
like I don't know, because there's different, you have the Johnny Cash Walk the Line where it goes from his childhood to him getting over his alcohol addiction. But then you also have, I think there was some movie that like it was just like a day in the life. Right. So I don't know what this kind of biopic.
That's a cool concept for a biopic, is like just following the actor or celebrity like just throughout their daily life.
Yeah, like there's that Steve Jobs one where it was just the day of a press conference.
Interesting.
So it'll be interesting to see how they take it. Are they going to take it where it is going through his time in the Jackson 5 up until he like gets the overdose from that doctor? I don't know. Are they gonna just do one day? Or are they just gonna focus on a period of time?
I feel like you either go one day or like his entire career or life, because a small era just doesn't work for me. I don't know.
Or like, do you go from, because they didn't cover Johnny Cash up until he was an old man,
right?
Like, how do you go from him as a child to what point do you stop it at? And also, like, the thing is, like, are they going to include things that are
controversial from his past? And obviously there's the documentaries that have come out on Hulu, but I know those have been I guess controversial as well. Like I know people, like a lot of people don't agree with them and still believe like he's a very innocent guy.
That's the thing. Like you're gonna make the thing is
you're
like
gonna make some people mad. Regardless.
Just the fact that this is being made, is gonna be such a big.
It's been like announced and greenlit, is what you're saying? Like
by
they're trying to find an actor. Or,
Paramount. Yeah, I think they're gonna try to find an actor. I think the most challenging part about the actor is, they gotta look probably somewhat like Michael, but it depends. Like they'll either get somebody to sing the songs, or they'll have to find an actor that can also sing and also dance.
I mean, is it unheard of to just use audio from like their past?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But
that could happen.
No, it could. But with a lot of the biopics that have been coming out lately, it's been more like, I think Rami Malek did
some
all
singing.
The singing, and I'm pretty sure Taron, was it Tara Edgerton? I think he did the singing too. That's
surprising. Nice. I really wanted to see Rocket Man. That's something I gotta see.
I do want to see that.
Oh, you haven't seen it either?
I don't know. There's like an inside joke I had with like a partner of mine that was like, we'd be scrolling through and we'd both be like, oh, there is Rocket Man. We haven't seen that. And we're like, every single time we're just like, nah. Not today though. Like, I don't know. There's something I was like, it's just because music biopics are so.
Yeah, they're very like by the numbers.
But the thing about Rocket Man, I heard, is that it really is almost not based in reality.
Oh, neat.
Like there's a lot of like
his interpretation of things.
Yeah.
Nice.
But and there's like when the musical moments happen, it's like it's like a
Like an art performance or something?
yeah, it's like a whole world
Nice.
thing. So it's not your typical biopic, but I think I love music so much, but something I don't love biopics. I love Walk the Line. That one I still watch all the time, but
I do. I mean, I don't know. I will say I'm drawn to a biopic. I don't know what it is, even though they're like, I get it. I'm so interested to learn about like that person's life. And like,
yeah.
like I don't know.
I think I'd rather watch a documentary about it is all. Like that's me personally. Like
yeah, I mean that's fair.
If I want to learn about a musician's life or anybody's life, more often of the time I'm more drawn to a documentary because of all the times that I've watched a biopic and then people go, well, that actually didn't happen. I'm like, shit.
You know,
I want to know that, you know.
The only like biopic I can think of right now that I've seen like that I like is Ray.
Oh yeah, that one was really good too.
Yeah. But yeah, like before the recent, Bohemian Rhapsody, Elton John, Elvis, I can't kind of think of these biopics.
One that you saw?
Yeah. But I know I like a lot of them.
Jackie Brown.
Oh yeah, you're right. With Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, there even was Ella Fitzgerald that came out recently. Right. So
they'll keep making them.
Ella Fitzgerald, and then Aretha Franklin was recently another one too.
Who played Aretha Franklin?
It might have been Miss Hudson.
Oh yeah, Jennifer Hudson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was her.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
I didn't hear much about it.
I didn't either, clearly.
So, but this is definitely going to be something that is going to be interesting to see what happens.
So that's probably going to come out in a year or two, I guess.
I mean, maybe. I mean, they haven't even cast yet, so it's just been announced that it's happening.
Is there a script?
I don't know. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So
that's very early stages.
Very early stages.
We'll keep looking at that for sure.
We have one other piece of news.
Yeah, probably one other.
Depending on how late we go.
Yeah, this is Zack watching the end of season 3 of Titans is what this is.
Yeah, for anybody that's just listening to this podcast, there's been a lot of questions from me about why my friend here had Titans on his screensaver of his phone for so long, because it just, in my mind, is so widely known that this is a bad show. And, I know that he loves Teen Titans and I love Teen Titans. And
we talked about this on the first episode of our podcast.
Yeah, so we had I'd gotten up to the end of season 2,
and
the
kind
first
of started
episode.
season 3.
Yeah. And 4 weeks later, I've now
finally finished season 3.
Finished season 3.
I don't blame you. It took you a while.
There's just other stuff I want to watch. I don't want to kill myself with trying to watch this show. But I think it's something that we should definitely talk about. I've seen all of season 3, and I just finished the episode 2 of season 4. So is there something you want to ask me to start this off, or you want me to just go into it?
Gosh, I mean, there's so much. So I'll let you just go into it.
Okay, so let's see what I have written down. I thought that there was a Jason Todd solo episode that I thought was done pretty well.
Yeah. Is that where they like kind of go into the fact like why he was taking like drugs in the beginning, or maybe okay. So that was done pretty well. I have an issue though with many things. But me too.
So they don't, other than much later in the season, which also I have an issue with, that I don't think she is Amanda Waller, but she's almost Amanda Waller. But
this is like the last couple episodes.
This woman from Argus shows up and reveals herself and says the Lazarus pits were, the Ra's al Ghul made a Lazarus pit which he's known for, going into and being reborn somewhere in Gotham. They don't ever say how Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow, knows about the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah. And
he just somehow brings Jason Todd back to life. And it's like, oh yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, but then, also it's used 2 more times in the season. And how did the bats know about it?
Oh my fucking God. So
oh man.
At this point, all the residents of Gotham are under Scarecrow's. Near the end of the season are under Scarecrow's toxin.
Yeah,
and
toxin.
They've been like psyoped into thinking that the Titans are like bad.
Right.
And so Nightwing ends up going to face Jason at a plaza. But then does he get shot? He gets shot in the neck by like a resident of Gotham.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, Jason's like, look, I don't want to kill you. I'm done. And
then but he dies, and he does die. But he's currently dying with a gunshot wound in his neck, while residents of Gotham beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
And then Jason runs away, and then Raven and Beast. First of all, Raven shows up after 9
episodes. The 9th episode she returns.
Yeah, 9th episode she returns. I'm jumping all over the place, but this whole time she was in Themyscira trying to bring Wonder Girl back. She, the body
she unsucceeds,
and she finds out that her body's gone. So she just goes back to Gotham. Somehow knows where Beast Boy is. Also senses for some reason that she like physically is in pain when Dick is dying.
Yeah.
And then she knows exactly where to find him. I don't fucking know how. She then says, he's dead. Beast Boy does the most overacting ever and just yells at the top of his lungs. Then a bunch of bats, a swarm of bats circle him, and then he turns into a bat.
Yeah.
And then the bats carry Nightwing's body to the Lazarus Pits.
Yep.
I don't know how they know about that or could physically carry a fucking 180, 190 pound man or more to the Lazarus Pits.
Yeah. It's some of the worst writing. I mean, it's not even like the worst writing of the season to me, because like that same thing happens with Wonder Girl too. When she like gets resurrected, she somehow just knows where to find Bruce and saves him.
And they really never go back to that at all.
No, he just kind of shows back up in Gotham and is like, hey, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah. And boy, I'm shocked you haven't mentioned it, because it's my least favorite part of the season. But I hate the journey that Wonder Girl and Tim Drake go through in the like afterlife. I love how that episode starts off when they're in the train.
Okay.
I think starts off very cool.
Yeah.
But the ghouls that are after them the entire time look like CW creatures. They look so bad. And oh my gosh. Yeah. And the fact that Barbara gets resurrected, like she saves herself. Raven did nothing.
Wait. Barbara saved herself? Wait.
Remember, because basically they just have to make this journey to like this one spot, and then they can like leave the afterlife.
But not Barbara.
Sorry, I meant Wonder Girl. You can't. Donna Troy. Yeah.
Right.
Donna and Tim. Yeah, they save themselves. Raven has nothing to do with her resurrection, even though she spent 8 episodes off the season trying to do it.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. What was even the point? What was her storyline? She had no storyline.
She had none. They didn't know what to do with her in season 3.
And also going into season 4, she like all of a sudden knows all this magic shit. I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, magic for some reason, like in season 4, they have like a blanket term almost for it. I don't know. There's a lot of new magic that pops up.
I like that resurrection episode, like in the afterlife. There's things I really like. Like I like Hank. And I don't really have a problem with Tim yet.
Tim is fine. I don't know if you remember, but like once he's resurrected as well, he like does this kick on an officer, or like and it looks so bad.
And they're like, how did you learn how to do that?
Yeah, he was like, I don't know. Just like so like adrenaline hype from the situation. But
I think he said like YouTube or something.
Yeah, right. And I don't know. So he's not.
I liked him.
He's not terrible yet. But yeah, I do think he has like the weakest story so far to be a Robin.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, I'm a big fan of Batman and I want to be Robin.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's really so like bold of him to be like,
yeah,
I want to be Robin. I am going to be Robin. And it's like, why?
Yeah, like why do you need it?
Yeah,
right.
For real. It's just like a weird point. It's just like, if you're a fan of the comics, you know he becomes Robin, but it's such a weird way that he's like saying, I want to be Robin.
Right. Like imagine, if you're just a viewer who doesn't know who Tim is, you're just like, who's this kid?
Yeah. I was also going to say, at first, I thought the Blackfire and Superboy flirtation was like really cringe.
I do like where it goes.
I like it where it goes. It gets a lot better.
I will say, okay. Let me rewind a little bit before this. I hate the decision where I think it's before that Plaza scene where he meets with Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Superboy's like, please let me come with you. I got you. I got your back.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, I'm gonna blow kryptonite dust in your face so you pass out.
Yeah.
And he, and then after, a couple episodes after, he makes a very irrational decision like Dick as well, where he just out of nowhere blows up Blackfire Starship.
Yeah.
And
that was,
and he even explains it. He's like, yeah, I get it. He's like, yeah, I had to do what I had to do too.
And Blackfire was super forgiving.
Yeah, she's like, it's no big deal.
I understand. I would have done it too.
Right. I was like, what?
What?
Yeah. So like it was left off on such a cliffhanger there, where he destroyed the ship, and you're like, oh my god, is Superboy bad now? And then it's like nothing comes of that.
Yeah. Scarecrow starts to go insane. The thing is, I like the Scarecrow character.
For the most part, I think he gets really cringe at the end.
Yeah, he was really interesting at the beginning.
Yeah, he was.
He got really interesting in a different way, but it's like when he first lost and all of his chemicals got blown up.
he just a baby.
Yeah, he just resorted back to being like, and I get it from a psychological perspective, and then him going to visit his mom again, and all these things that are being brought up. But he just slowly over time, like it just. I was
like, why are you afraid of this guy, Jason?
Yeah,
like why are you so scared?
He's cutting up his face. Right. And this is a thing that I really hate about the whole show of Titans in general.
Oh boy,
is they do such comic book things.
Yeah,
like I just recently saw episode 2 of season 4 where
Mother Mayhem. Yeah,
Mother Mayhem's caught, breaking shit up on the highway.
Yeah,
and they're in the RV.
I hate the ending of episode 2, man.
And then Dick stops the RV and says, "Suit up." Why would you suit up?
Yeah,
you don't have enough time for that shit. She's right there.
She's right there.
So, anyways, they suit up and they fight her.
And then they fight her one by one.
They don't
fight her. They don't fight her as a group like the Titans should ever. But they're like, no, let's just send one at a time.
But anyways, like eventually Raven loses her powers, assumedly, and she has her hair turn white. I don't. But and this is the thing I hate. Like Tim yells, "Nightwing!" Nobody's around. That's
sure, but Mother Mayhem doesn't know that's Dick Grayson.
I think she was gone.
Oh well.
But regardless, this happens in other episodes where they're like Starfire.
But here's the thing: I don't mind that at all, because like when they're in the suits,
or they'll be like Superboy was saying, like they'll just have a regular conversation, like, well, Superboy said this, and it's like, call him, what is it, Connor?
Right. But like to me, like again, I don't have a problem with that, because like if you're in like your superhero outfit, like I don't want you calling me by any other name, like just for security purposes.
I think there's episodes though where they're just in civilian clothes.
Yeah, but
and they say like Beast Boy.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, Beast Boy didn't have an outfit for like 3 seasons. So,
but I'm saying in general, like they'll say like, so-and-so's name, superhero name, and like, what? I don't know. That's something that bothers me. And specifically going back to Scarecrow is he starts singing the If I Had a Brain song.
When was that?
Like one of the last episodes. He starts singing from the Scarecrow's song from Wizard of Oz. And you're like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, we get it.
Right.
You're the Scarecrow.
You're artsy. Right. I think, Argus coming in at the end is a little... it's a little like, cop out.
Yeah. Well, cop out, but also like if you're gonna bring him in, like this woman's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
You didn't think until Gotham went into complete chaos.
Right.
And even at that point, it had been complete chaos. And then she brings in this organization to try to clean things up. Like you're doing a terrible job at monitoring supervillain or superhero activity.
For sure. And I think the only good thing about that was that's how they wrote off Donna Troy is even after bringing her back for some weird reason.
Yeah.
They're like, she's going to like work for Argus now. And that's good with me.
I mean, it's fine.
I think the best part of the season finale, funny enough, is like the last scene where they're all like about to like board the RV. And Dick says to Tim, like, you coming? And he's like, so it's like, oh, really? Yeah. And I think, like that's a nice moment. Like, and that to me, like that scene where they're getting in the RV and it's 6 of them, that is what excited me about like season 4, the potential of it, because it was like, we're leaving Gotham. There's a condensed group, like finally.
Yeah.
And I was hoping we'd get back to Titan's Tower. But now season 4 is an RV trip. So,
which I think is fun.
I think season 4 starts off strong, where they're like on the bowling alley and just like goofing off. I think that's like some of the strongest Titans has ever been, because like you even had Beast Boy transforming into like different animals we had never seen.
Like an octopus arm when they go bowling.
Like, fantastic. That's all the fans have ever asked for. Is you to show anything of Beast Boy other than a fucking tiger.
Yeah. Before we get to that, though, I will also say Starfire has new powers that she's never really tried out before. But then they concoct, this plan at the end.
Yeah.
So
all these just shoot beams into the sky? Is that?
Hold on.
Sorry.
So all these citizens of Gotham have died from a bomb that's gone off around the city that Scarecrow planted. And they are like, oh, how are we going to get all the bombs in time? And then they're like looking up like from this book that Scarecrow's been like reading from to plan out like maybe this is where the bomb is.
Yeah.
And Dick's like, we've been going about it all wrong. And then he's like, I expect miracles and blah, 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 blah. And then they come up with this plan to take the Lazarus pit and then transform it into a storm to resurrect people.
Yeah.
So Raven gathers all of the Lazarus pit energy, which is said to be like all the nightmares and horrible feelings that one would feel.
Okay.
Then she gathers it, and then Blackfire creates like fire, like this fire, like high heat storm, and then Starfire knows that she can contain it somehow. Right. So then they take this ball of fire and they launch it up into the sky with the Lazarus pit to create a storm. And then there's lightning that starts striking, and they're like, oh no, I forgot the one thing. It'll be pointless if everybody just burns. Like, I forgot about the lightning. And then so Donna Troy, somehow her whip can just reach into the heavens. It's so long, it reaches into the heavens.
There's no length.
That she's like, I got this. And they're like, no, don't you remember last time what happened with lightning? She's like, you know that saying about lightning. And then she just holds it, and lightning comes in, and we're supposed to be like, what? It doesn't hit twice.
Like, right. Yeah.
So anyways, let's just assume that this plan worked.
Yeah.
There's nothing to like. If Ra's al Ghul only needed drops of Lazarus rain on him, I doubt that he would create a fucking pit. So I don't know how their plan was like, yeah, you know, if it just rains on the citizens, they should come back to life.
Yeah, enough drops on their face, it should be fine, you know? Yeah. I think
stupid.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
It's the dumbest ending.
I think funny enough, like they had 13 episodes and it was a rushed ending. It wasn't, funny enough, I also don't think it's their worst finale. I think it's...
Also, the scientist dude is fucking annoying.
Yeah, he's annoying, yeah.
Sorry, but it's not their worst finale.
I don't think it is. I think, overall, like, they saved Gotham and, they fixed the cast issues and you built it for a better show. But
now going into season 4, the 2 episodes I've seen, the Lex Luthor portrayal is very good.
Very good. Yeah. I think I was saying earlier to you that like what pissed me off about his death in the first episode is that they do the like a very similar thing in the first not the first season, the season 3 first episode
with Batman
with Batman and Joker, right? And you're like, oh wow, you have a cool villain that's like very high up on the totem pole. And then you're just like, no, he's done. Mm-hmm. Somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lex dies. Spoiler.
In a very brutal way.
Very brutal.
Yeah.
I was going to say that season 4 reminds me a lot to Stranger Things season 4. I don't think you've seen that season, but it's very similar because they're both kind of drawing from this Freddy Krueger horror. Like it's more horror.
Right.
And there's things that happen to characters that other characters are like frozen, so they're not experiencing them. So it's kind of like a Vecna situation,
right?
From Stranger Things. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is neat, yeah.
Now there is this. So this is most of this season. I think is pretty. I like a lot,
right?
But there's also things that I don't like. And a lot of it right now is pertaining to Rachel. So they go to this house and they discover this little girl and her mom's been murdered. And Raven tries to get her out of this trance or whatever she's in. And then she sees that she's in a slaughterhouse with whoever is maybe a Brother Blood affiliate or whatever. And she's like, he's not far. And Beast Boy says, I know that sound. It's the sound of dying animals. I don't know how they just know the slaughterhouse to go to, unless there's just one slaughterhouse in Metropolis to go to.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Of course.
The slaughterhouse that the entire city gets their meat from.
Yeah, of course.
So they go to this slaughterhouse that she knows where the killer is. She's just seen like the most brutal deaths, like the most brutal, horrible, like this person in a dream was like going to best her until she used her powers. She walks around this compound taunting the killer, being like, where are you? Come out, come out. Yeah. And then...
well, you know what? If you're the Titans, you should be that cocky. Honestly, if you got 6 people with you, come on, like be a team.
But it's just her by herself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's just things like that just bother me.
Yeah, it's like they're small plot points, but there's no thought put into some of them. Like I don't know if you remember, I don't think you've gotten to the scene where they're at the compound, not the compound, but it's disguised as like this big store, like a Walmart.
I don't know.
I guess okay, so that's probably next episode for you. But yeah, I just there's a plot point in there where the villains that come at them, there's no like thought into like why they should or shouldn't be killing these people. It's just like they aren't at one point and then they are at another point, and it's just like come on, I need a little better quality here. And then like that's season 4,
I will say the guy playing Sebastian, who I guess turns into Brother Blood. I like that character.
I like him too. he's supposed to be our age, 25, and I don't believe that.
Why?
Because he looks like he's in his mid-30s, but that's just me. Because I think in the show they're like, he's literally born in 97.
It doesn't bother me as much. I could see it, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think you'll see that season 4 goes pretty slow up until like the mid-season finale. I think the second part's going to be where it really hits, I guess. I guess that's what they're planning.
Yeah.
So hope it gets better for you, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll talk about it when I finish part 1.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, and another show on HBO Max that just came out.
Yeah.
And
this is the big one.
The big one, The Last of Us. I know we both watched it this past week, and damn, was it good.
Yeah. This first episode is just incredible. You called it last week. It was an hour and a half. I mean, it was like a movie almost. Yeah. Oh my God. It's pretty insane how similar it is to the game.
Yeah.
But they have adapted it in such a fantastic way. Like, this is something that like I was picking up on. I don't know if you thought about this, but the way it's shot, because some shows, the way they do lighting, the lighting isn't so super bright.
Yeah.
But for this show, it reminded me of the video game.
I could see that.
Like a game that came out in the early 2000s where but there was the way that they shot. I don't know. It was with the cameras that they used. And
there was something about the cinematography that was just like exquisite.
But it really felt like the video game.
Yeah.
Like a game that came out in the early aughts. There's just something about it, the way that it's framed and the way that it's composed that.
Yeah.
But
I think
really,
same with the set design too.
They killed it with the set design. I mean,
absolutely.
The QZ looks completely lived in and real. And 2003, like Texas, I was like getting waves of like, whoa!
Nostalgia,
I remember having that TV.
Yeah,
and
I think that to me is what impressed me the most was like
listening
the
to
house
Ditto's
sets.
White Flag, huh?
The house that like Joel lived at in 2003 and like the apartment that he lived at in 2023, like both just felt so like similar to the game and like so
apparently
like,
it's the same wallpaper.
Wow, that's insane. I will say what really made me happy, and I could be wrong about this because it's been a while since I've played the first game, but I was so happy seeing like so many scenes without Joel. Like we got a lot of like a day in the life of Joel's daughter, like in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't, so we're gonna probably talk spoilers.
Yeah.
But if you have seen it, they make that the episode seem like Joel's daughter's your main character.
Yeah, they do a really good job of diverting the attention away from Joel until until the outbreak starts.
Yeah. And everything that from that day to like just when they're having breakfast and they're what's
all the subtle things.
What's going in Jakarta?
Right.
It's like, where is Jakarta? Is it a country? And just all the buildups. You're like,
so many little things you can catch.
Just made everything so much worse. And
it's great.
The absolutely most terrifying part of this episode is Sarah's in the mainframe looking at like some books. And then that fucking grandma, just her face starts contorting and it's just blurred out. And
it's so creepy, bro. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was really disturbing. And then the dog is just like staring.
I felt so bad for that dog.
Felt bad for that dog, like later on. But like the dog was just like staring at the grandma like
Yeah.
You're not even.
That's not you. Yeah.
And the fungus stuff that comes out of their mouths
That's
when
creepy
they
as hell,
haven't
too.
fully turned into a cordyceps is just
done really well.
It was really creepy and disgusting.
Yeah, I'll say, funny comparison. If you remember the Fear of the Walking Dead like opening.
No, I never watched that show.
Oh, you didn't watch Fear the Walking Dead?
No.
Okay. They do a very similar like transition of like the day before everything goes wrong and then like up into the outbreak.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very similar vibe to this. I think this does it better. Just because the characters are a bit stronger and more like self-focused.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the switch, it's about half an hour in where it's like goes from the 2003 era to like the 20 years past.
Yeah, like maybe like 40 minutes. Yeah, something like that.
And like, gosh, it's obvious in the game too, but like the switch of Joel's personality, like it's not like super in your face, but like it's clear he's a different guy, and it pays off so well.
Well, they do it so well because they have that kid who, if it's the way they do it is so smart because they focus in on the shoes, so they make the shoes noticeable colors. Absolutely. Right?
This first action,
and he's walking up really strangely,
right? And
you're like, well, something's probably not.
Yeah, I wasn't
great
sure
about
if
this
that kid was going to be alive or infected, right?
Yeah, and the sad thing is he probably like heard this is a place to go to.
Yep.
And you have that, and it's really well done because they don't beat you over the head like Velma,
right? It's through his actions. They're showing you and not telling you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you see how the world's changed because that guard is just being super nice, and she's probably done it 1,000 times where, you don't even have to see, like you just see that the scanner for the kid, it turns red and it's off, it's blurry. And you're just like, and she knows it. Like she sees it for like half a second.
But then,
then she's just like, oh, we're going to get you like good food and just give him this shot. And then the cut to Joel,
the shoes and the woman seeing the shoes and like, I can't do this. And Joel has no problem.
Yeah, he just drops the kid in the fire.
Yeah. It's a beautiful, multiple scenes of storytelling.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful storytelling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know if you heard, I'm jumping kind of to the end of the episode here, but they weren't going to make it as long of an episode at first. Like from what I was hearing, it was almost like that first episode wasn't going to like barely have any Joel Ellie moments. And I think like they did such a good move by adding those in. Like the one that really like made me happy was Ellie figuring out the code in the book.
Yeah,
and I was like,
cool.
This is like the perfect first scene for these two. Like her figuring out like and kind of like deceiving him, and him like kind of trying to open up, and then at the end where he kind of like flashes back to when his daughter got shot and just goes full like rage dad mode.
Yeah,
I think both of those scenes are like so crucial to the first episode and like setting us up for like the Joel Ellie arc. And I love leaving it off of like, okay, well now we're going to take the journey. It's a great ending to the episode.
Right. Yeah. To go off of that scene that you're talking about, I like watching the after shows.
Oh yeah.
And so they did one for this one.
Nice.
And it's cool that he's attacking the guard for, because of his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellie likes that there's somebody, like so when it happened with Sarah, she was like, and he beat that neighbor.
Yeah.
She was scared.
Right.
But Ellie likes this. She likes somebody like defending her.
Well, yeah, because that's the world she knows.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Sarah didn't know
Joel's like, fighting this thing from his past, like his pain of like, being in a similar situation with with Sarah.
Yeah.
And I just think the way that House of the Dragon had dual, tying back,
contrasting
from the first bit of the episode to the last is, just like really like puts this opener pilot like just one of the greats.
Absolutely.
I think.
Yeah.
And I think that the actress that played Sarah,
she was great.
Was absolutely it was their chemistry, Pedro Pascal and her chemistry was so tender, and it was really brutal to go through that moment of him, she's shot and he's like, baby, I know.
And like continuing to pick her up, and then you can see like when she passes is just, it's so heartbreaking.
I'm getting like, I can't, cause I was like, I was crying like really bad. But it was just so well done. And I really like Bella Ramsey as Ellie.
She's perfect. I honestly,
I don't get why people were so upset,
because it doesn't look exactly like Ellie. That's it.
Pedro doesn't either.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't, but I mean he looks like Joel to me. Like I don't know what it is.
Sure, but he's still,
even Bella Ramsey's pretty close to how Ellie looks.
Right.
And like everything, every mannerism, every time she talked, I was like, this is Ellie. This is how Ellie's supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure.
And they both killed it, and I'm so excited to see their chemistry move forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for me because I've watched like playthroughs, but I've only watched playthroughs up into a certain point in the game, so I don't know how this ends.
Wow, that's so exciting.
So I've seen all this stuff, and I'll probably have seen stuff for the next probably 2 episodes, but probably after that, if I'm correct, everything will be new. And I don't plan on watching more playthroughs. You
shouldn't, yeah.
I'm just gonna well, the show's here. I had my chance, so I'm just gonna watch it.
Yeah.
But
I almost wish I was in your position, man.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I
think the finale is gonna hit. It might even hit harder than the game finale.
Oh god.
Yeah. So that'll be really good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready, but I love the zombie design so far. We haven't seen
any. Yeah, really.
But I love it. It was like just like the game.
It really was.
Where you had that cordyceps that's completely taken over the human on the wall, just plastered on the wall.
So well done. Yeah, scared the shit out of me, just like it did Tess.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the jump scare. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'll get to that part. I love how the show opens.
Yeah, me too.
You have like a 60s
68
Dick Cavett sort of style talk show where you have debating, I would say maybe scientists or doctors, and one guy saying like there might be a pandemic, and then the other doctor's like, I'm not worried about pandemic.
Right.
And he's like, well, what are you worried about something? He's like, fungi. And then the audience all laughs like, oh, it's so funny. And then he steals the show by just
more facts he lands.
Very factual, like matter of fact, just this.
And then he presents a very real world scenario that this could happen. And
I love that it's like, this happens with these ants.
Yep.
This is what happens when a fungus takes over its host. And this is exactly what happens to the host. It eats you from the inside out.
Yeah. And you don't have any free will. And your only goal is to spread the bacteria.
Right.
Yeah.
And that this is, he was saying like, well, fungus can't survive up to a temperature of...
Yeah, that's what I meant with
blah, blah, blah.
With the real world scenario that he brought up. It's like, well,
climate change.
What if it gets a little hotter? Right.
And then everybody like perks up.
Yeah, they're like, oh. Yeah, even like the show host was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently there was two trains of thoughts with that opening. They were debating doing it like a David Attenborough like nature documentary where they would show the fungus on the ant and what it did to it.
Yeah.
And then I guess the showrunner, Craig Mazin, who did Chernobyl and is now in charge of this, was like, it's kind of boring. It's kind of like you're in biology class.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. Like, it would feel like something that came out of an aughts like zombie apocalypse movie. I've seen that too many times before. It reminded me more of like I Am Legend, where you I forget who the actress is. Maybe it's Emma Thompson. I think it is Emma Thompson. And they're like, so you found a cure for cancer, and then she like smiles and she's like, I did, and then it cuts to New York and it's like an apocalypse. And
now I will say, like, I did like that opening scene, but I do wish it connected. I mean, I guess maybe a little more into like the current day of like 2003. Like maybe it like pans out of the screen and like they're watching it in that classroom. Like I maybe wanted like something like a little more, but like I'm kind of nitpicking there. Because
I
I
don't know, because this feels like something that like they talked about years and decades ago, and now it's gotten to the point where that fungus is able to take over, and I think it's smart that he says like, how do you think where do we get penicillin from, and you know, they even, it's so smart, like you know, how did the old lady get she goes into the city a lot for the hospital tests. That's how she must have gotten it.
I saw like the theory that in the Last of Us universe that like fungi is spreading through like bread. What's the blanket term for breaded things? Like I'm blanking on it. You think you are as well?
Breaded things?
Like, you know, like
breaded food?
Like yeast or like
yeast. I mean, that's a component of how you make bread.
Flour. I don't know. Like
that is also a component of how you make bread.
Yeah, maybe it's spreading through.
Yeast is
flour.
A bacteria.
Okay, it's probably spreading through flour, but like I guess that's the theory, is that fungi can easily spread through it, and I guess that's how like, you know, because they were baking like cookies, and it was like, oh well, maybe that's how the grandma's getting it, because she like keeps feeding her cookies, you know, and
that's also pretty good,
right? Yeah,
but then I would say like, and then maybe it's spread to, because they probably drove that the woman probably drove her into the hospital. Yeah, maybe she touches some things and then gets into the cookies or something, because it's not airborne, I don't think. No, because
that doesn't make sense to me, considering like at, you know, in 2023 they're living in cities, you know, like that. Yeah, that shouldn't be airborne. Yeah.
Something, it didn't bother me too much, but I would have liked to have had a little bit more time understanding who the Fireflies were in connection to the
they
really
whole
just
world.
Throw
you into it, you know.
They throw you into it. It's not like I understand it. It's just I wish that they
a little more context is given.
Just a little bit more context of understanding how they fit into this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they do a good bit through their own dialogue, you know, like we've been fighting losing war for 20 years, we're not a real rebellion.
Yeah.
You know, you basically get the sense that there's other locations that they can go to, that this one Boston QZ area is just one fight they're doing. So yeah, I mean, they're not, I mean, and they are, I guess, showing why they're fighting, you know, because the government's, the Fedra seems to be very like oppressive, to say the least. And yeah, so
like you go outside and you get hanged.
That's insane. And there's public executions, which is crazy too. So yeah, I guess, it'll be fun to see a little more about Fireflies, maybe, while we keep going. We might not see the Fireflies for, you know, a few episodes now, though, but we'll see.
Yeah. Pretty much, I just loved this opening episode and
almost everything about it.
I think it's still got a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes for the whole season. Yeah. And the audience score is just right around that. So
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm just super excited. And one last thing, because this song is on one of the songs that I would recommend. They end the episode with, Ellie decoding that 80s means danger.
Yeah.
And it was so good. It was perfect. They just, Depeche Mode's Never Let You Down Again, I think.
Yeah.
Starts playing and it like zooms in, like starts getting closer to the radio, and then it shows the big city that they're walking into. And I just love, like, first of all, it's an 80s song, so it does the danger thing. But then like the lyrics are like, I'm taking a ride with my best friend. I hope he never lets me down again.
Yeah.
Like he's taking me where I need to go. And I'm like, these lyrics are like perfect. Like that's a perfect song choice.
It really is. Yeah.
And it ended in like a way that I was like pumped. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, because they're just like on the way to the journey now. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, as somebody who's played the game, when Ellie just like when they do the reveal with that she's been bit, but she says like, like it's 3 weeks old, like nobody lasts that long. I think in the game, doesn't she like show it on her by herself or something?
I
to reveal it. Like, did that bother you at all?
Really remember? I mean, it feels very familiar to the game, like how it happens. It might have happened a little more down the road.
Yeah, I think it did happen more down the road. I think it happened when they were in the city.
Yeah, but I didn't mind it happening there. Like I feel like maybe for the audience, you kind of needed that scene. Just to set up maybe like some confrontation that could happen, Gotcha. Right. But yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. But yeah, it's not like it's a 1-to-1 scene for scene adaptation.
No,
but it is very close, and I don't mind them taking like small liberties like that if that is the case.
Yeah.
Because it works for the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about Last of Us. Just looking forward to keep watching it and talking about it on here.
Same. So to end this podcast out, we're gonna just quickly go talk about some things that we've been into this past week. I don't know if you have anything.
Yeah, I mean,
that you have. I have some stuff.
I finished Better Call Saul season 5.
Oh, nice.
My friend Jared and I finished watching that this past week, and yeah, it was I would say like a tamer ending for a season of Better Call Saul, but what it sets up for season 6, I'm very excited for, and yeah, I don't want to say too much more than that because spoilers for you and whatnot, and you'll probably watch it eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say season 5, not a ton happens in season 5. Yeah, but still a very good season.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all
I've been watching, really. Yeah.
Okay. I brought this up earlier. I was just scrolling through Paramount Plus's shows and what they have, and noticed that they have a bunch of MTV stuff. So I got curious if they had this show called My Life as Liz, and it's an old show from like 2010 to like 2011. It only ran for 2 seasons, but you can go on Dailymotion and watch some of the episodes, and it was just really interesting to watch a show that I saw as a kid that I was supposed to be around the same age as, and it was of that so random era, it was just weird to be reminded of what it's like to be a kid in high school around that time, and it's like a fake reality show.
Interesting.
It's so weird, but other than watching Titans, there's a remake of a 1950s movie called Them that's getting remade.
Oh yeah, you were going to talk about that.
Yeah, we were going to talk about it.
I think last week.
Right? Yeah. Michael Giacchino, who's usually a composer, he did like the score for Batman and Up. Well, I watched the original, and it's surprisingly really, really good. Really good.
Movies from that time period can be really good, man.
Yeah, like this was a really fantastic like horror movie of that time. I mean, just in general, like I'm very excited to see how they're going to remake it, because for the most part, it still really holds up. And though it is dealing with giant ants because of nuclear testing, there's a lot of cool
like there's grounded elements in it, I'm assuming.
There's a ton of grounded elements. And similar to how we were talking about the cordyceps with The Last of Us, there's things that ants do that when they're brought to a larger scale is terrifying.
Okay.
And so they go into a lot of scientific stuff about that, and just the way they implement like things like the ants communicating through these high-pitched noises. There's like a terror when you hear this like...
Wow. There's only like one thing I know ants do that like is terrifying, which is that like I think if an ant doesn't wash itself like enough, then they the smell they give off is like the smell of a dead ant. And so when that happens, like they immediately like bring that ant, even if he's alive, over to the dead ant pile. Yeah, and so like they have to scrub themselves basically like clean to not be like thrown with the dead bodies. It's like mindless worker shit. It's insane, man.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's
ants are scary, dude.
No, I mean after watching this I was like, I didn't know ants had stingers.
Oh, I didn't know that
like
either.
They kill with stingers.
Wow.
Not just those mandibles that they have.
I was going to say, is like, does that like the stinger on their mouth, or is that like, where's the stinger?
Behind them.
Behind them?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but
I don't want to see them.
No, it's really good. I just have like an affinity for
ants.
Yeah. No. I just have an affinity for like old black and white movies.
Oh, yeah,
it's just something about it's
very nice.
Yeah. But moving on, I need an outlet for music, so I'm going to recommend 5 songs. And this is the first week that it's like an actual music week where they're like dropping new songs. So I think these are like all primarily
all new songs.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Eating It Enough, Viagra Boys, they have a deluxe version of their album called Cave World, and they're like the scuzziest, most disgusting punk.
Okay.
But it's so great. They have like saxophones and synthesizers and distorted guitars.
Quite the endorsement.
Yeah. No, they're great. And then The Physical by this band called Friction that I've never heard of, but they're like hardcore and they're dope. CD Baby, the Underscores remix by Chloe Moriando, which is like hyperpop.
Cool.
That I'm just obsessed with, and it's very good.
Nice.
Pro Freak by Smino with Doechii and Fat Man Scoop.
Wow, these are all just alien names to me. Got no idea.
These I'm trying to like newer artists because I don't need to say like the new Fall Out Boy was really good, even though it was. But that one's dope. It's like neo soul, but hip hop, and Doechii has a sick feature. And the last one is just Never Let Me Down Again by Depeche Mode.
Oh, okay.
Because of The Last of Us.
But yeah.
That's the song that ends.
Oh, is it?
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
That episode. But those are it. They'll be linked in the link tree in the IG of our Instagram.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll have them in our links below in Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah, they'll be on YouTube. I don't know about Spotify.
Okay.
I'll try to get them on there, but I don't know how to update those. But
I can show you if you'd like. But yeah, I mean that's behind the scenes, kind of talk. But yeah, absolutely check out Zack's music.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for checking out our 5th episode of the podcast.
Yeah. I hope people are listening. I think people are definitely listening to reels and TikTok posts that we've done. So there's definitely some conversation to be had. If you want to check out our TikTok or any of our socials, they'll be listed.
And if you want to interact with any angry people in our comments, you can feel free to do that too.
Well, I mean, they're allowed to have their opinions.
Angry, but I'm just saying that if you want to interact with them, they're there. But yeah.
But no, seriously, if you've gotten this far, it's very appreciated. We definitely like the podcast format and having be able to have these longer discussions. But
we have a good time talking about what we like to watch and whatnot. And yeah, we like that you like to watch it. So
listen.
Yeah, watch it is maybe in the future. But listen. Yeah, it's better. But yeah, thank you again, and bye.
Yeah, until next time.